This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
And welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first two guests today are both here to talk about the upcoming Ella Ferris race to support Mid-Michigan Medical Center. I have Joe Gentry and Izzy Szymanski. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Nancy.
Thank you for being here, Joe, and thank you for being here, Izzy, and we'll get right to you in a moment. Joe, Ella Ferris race, I've lived here all my life, so I know about it, but give people who don't live here an idea about what it is and why we do it.
It's a series of events on Labor Day weekend, and it benefits the foundation, the Mid-Michigan Foundation, and all the proceeds go to the Peter L. Ferris Scholarship Fund. And it was started by the Development Council, volunteer group, of a way to honor the businesses and to give them some recognition for supporting the hospital. And the series of events include a 1-mile run, a 5K run. We reintroduced a half marathon this year, as well as a 6-mile bike tour and an 18.5-mile bike race. So
wow.
There's lots of things for people to do.
And you know what I like best about that day is going by and seeing everyone with the t-shirts on and seeing everyone together. So it's a great family event.
It is, and that's why we've expanded it to the biking part and different events, so that if you're younger and you can't do a full 5K, you have a mile event. And it is a nice family event.
It is. And the family that is going to be the honorary race chairs this year is the Szymanski family.
That's correct.
And you've brought a very special guest with you today, Izzy.
Yes.
So tell me about Izzy.
Well, Izzy and her family have been participating in our events, different ones they've run, they've biked for a number of years, but last year, on her own, Izzy had a little special fundraising. And I'll ask her to tell you about that.
Tell me about what you did last year.
Okay, so last year, in honor of my deceased sister, I decided to raise some money to buy the race to donate to one of the hospitals she was at. So we would go around our road in the neighborhood by us, and we also went down our Papa's neighborhood, and we were able in the end to donate $1,865.
Oh my goodness.
So that was really awesome.
See, you didn't tell me all this ahead of time. You're going to make me cry, but that is awesome, honey, you know, and when people your age start doing things like this, you know, it becomes a way of life, you know, and Joe,
yep.
You know, because you've been a volunteer in our community forever, and how wonderful to have a young woman like this step forward and do something like that totally on her own.
It was just kind of a really nice addition to last year's event. So
awesome.
Okay.
So I'm assuming you're going to be there again this year because your family's
yes.
Our chairperson. So do you have anything special planned for this year?
Well, I am planning on trying to donate some money to the ALS fund in honor of a friend that had that disease that lived in Canada.
Well, that's wonderful, honey. Congratulations to you. Okay, back to the race. We know it's going to be held Labor Day weekend. The date?
September 1st.
Okay, September 1st. It starts at what time?
Well, everything starts like at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, I see that.
The half marathon is on the trail system, the Northeast Michigan State Trail. So it starts out by Napa Road and it runs directly into town. So people have to get transported out there. So there'll be a courtesy transportation at 6 a.m. to the start. And then the other events follow thereafter. The bike event, I believe, goes off at 8, and the 5K is at 9:30. And generally, everything's wrapped up, and the awards and that are made by 11 a.m.
Okay, and it said registration fees ranges from $20 to $35, depending on what you're doing.
That's correct.
And so we're asking, and the registration fee and shirt, so everything is on this wonderful little form that we can see all around town.
Yes, they're available all over Bike Shop. They're available at the Chamber of Commerce. You can get them up, pick them up at the hospital.
Okay, so let's go back to Dork Brothers. You've been a member of Dork Brothers. We don't want to say how many years, but it's like about 40 years.
At least 40 years, yes.
And so I do believe that a lot of events like this, the races that we have in our community, came about because of the Dork Brothers.
Yes, they did. There was a local business Larson's Outfitters, who sponsored the first run, I believe, in Alpena. And they went out of business, and we just kind of picked it up and carried it forward. And as we were able to get sponsors and raise money through the events, we decided to support various charitable organizations that needed our support. The initial years of the Dork Brothers were donated pretty much to Special Olympics. Bev Keane was kind of our mentor, and we helped out at Special Olympic events in Alpena and then supported them financially through the races that we helped with. And as our knowledge of putting on events got bigger, the demand became more from agencies that wanted recognition in a way to become more public. And so we helped out with all kinds of different events.
And now when you hold a race, you have people from all over. How many people did you have at your last race, the 4th of July?
4th of July, we have almost 400 people participate. And I sent out awards this year: California, Arizona, New Mexico.
I saw you at the post office, so I know.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, it's people that were home or have a Michigan tie or in the area. They might be vacationing here. So now it's become kind of something that they look forward to year after year after year. And the bigger the field gets, of course, then the more money we're able to donate back to charity. This year, we donated money to the Thunder Bay Theater, the Friends of the Pool, to help keep the pool open during the summer, back to some of the swim programs, and to the Alpena Community College Athletic Fund.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, and tell all the members we appreciate their support. And one more time, we want to say the Alferis Race supporting Mid-Michigan Medical Center, the Peter Alferis Memorial Scholarship. Will be held September 1st. Look online, look here, these are everywhere. And Izzy, we'll look forward to seeing you there, honey, and thank you again. And I'm going to say, if anyone wants to make a donation to Izzy to support ALS, get them to Joe at M-Bank, because you're too young to put out any numbers or anything. So get the money to Joe, and who would we make the check out? To you, honey, or to ALS?
You could make it out to whatever, and then we can
You can work that out after. Okay, so I'd like to encourage people to bring checks to her to support her goal. And thank you so much, honey, for doing that. And a special thank you to you and your family for sponsoring the race.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Nancy.
I'll be right back following these messages. Hi, welcome back. My last guest today is Natalie Francis from Hope Shores Alliance. Hi, Natalie.
Hi.
So good to have you here today, and you are the volunteer coordinator for Hope Shores Alliance. But let's talk about some of the programs and services of Hope Shores Alliance first.
Yes, let's do that. We offer just a plethora of services to the community, and the community doesn't know a lot about a lot of these services, so that's why I'd like to bring those up.
Okay.
Support and advocacy. We have a 24-hour help and support line, so that is open 24 hours. That's 989-356-6265.
Okay.
Education and prevention programs. We have the emergency shelter, which is the Safe House. We have 2 full-time counselors. We have medical and legal advocacy. We have transitional housing program. We have adult and child support groups. We have our thrift store in Rogers City, which is called Seconds and Thirds.
That's a wonderful place.
Yes, that's been one of my favorite spots to have volunteers, and also I go up there at least once a week and work with those volunteers. So
Perfect.
That's been a fun place. And we have social justice and systems advocacy, and then of course the volunteer programs, which I'm in charge of now. So.
And you know, Hope Shores Alliance is there to help victims of sexual assault and domestic violence.
Yes, that's
so
correct.
when I think about someone being a victim of one of those, and I go down this list, I think, oh my goodness, everything is covered.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right. Everything is covered, and you know, it's not only for women. People have that stigma. You know, when it was Shelter Inc., they would just think, oh, the women's shelter.
It's not true.
And that is not true. It is for men. It is for teens. It is for anybody seeking services. So, it is not gender specific. So, you know, please call if you need help. Please give us a call on that number.
Okay, and now we'll talk about volunteer services.
Yes.
And things for people to know. It says, oh, we're so busy, I don't have time. But people really do have time to volunteer for Hope Shores Alliance.
They do. They have time, because we will make your volunteerism just tailor-made for you. We have alternative pathways. I am working with a woman right now who has financial experience, so she's going to come in and run credit scores for the survivors and help them with their checkbooks, because sometimes people haven't even had a chance to look at those. They don't even know what their scores are, and they don't know how important those are.
Right.
So she's going to, you know, maybe work once or twice every few months or a quarter, you know, and help with that. We have outreach where you can come every once in a while and work a table. But if you have a little bit more time, we have a receptionist where you would come in and answer the phone for us and maybe help update some manuals, do some typing, that type of thing, or some filing. We also have housekeeping. If that's something that you just, you know, you kind of eases your stress a little bit, you want to come in and do some housekeeping, we have that. We have childcare, which really helps out our clients, because it gives them a little bit of time to go maybe pick up some groceries or attend a class that they'd like to attend. We also have transportation, and that's huge because many of our survivors do not have vehicles. So if you can take them to a doctor's appointment, or you know, again, run them to the grocery store, something like that, that's huge. We also have again, with the alternative pathways, is if you have something special, like if you're really into journaling and you want to show someone what's the best way to write down your thoughts, or aromatherapy, or maybe you like yoga and you're a yoga teacher and you'd like to come in and share those talents.
Chair massages.
That would be beautiful. And I'll sit on that one.
Me too. Call me.
Definitely. So you know, it can be as easy as any kind of talent that you have, you can volunteer.
And sometimes just someone who's on your team to sit and talk to and say, hey, here's where I've been, this is what's happened, this is where I want to be, how do I get there? You know, have somebody, some more people, and I know Shelter is so wonderful about offering support through every step of everything.
Absolutely, and covering the 5 counties, we have volunteers needed in Oscoda. We have volunteers really needed in Oscoda, really badly. We have a lot of volunteers needed at the thrift store in Rogers City, which, like I said, is a fun place to be. That is totally ran by volunteers, and we're now getting into upcycling. So if you're a crafter and you'd like to do that, that is something that we're just getting into. So you can be at home and volunteering and then donating your item to the store and really helping out the operations of the agency.
And you know, when I see education and prevention programs, you know, it seems kind of silly to think about educating people about domestic violence and sexual assault, but it's probably one of the key components.
It is.
Like, you know, what is right, what is wrong, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and then to know that there are a team of professionals that can walk you through everything and let you know, you don't have to put up with this. This doesn't have to happen.
It really is, because a lot of times people don't. They've been talked to a certain way for so long that they don't understand that isn't they shouldn't be talked to that way, or they shouldn't be treated that way. So education is the key component to it's the first component to helping them.
Right. Okay, so how do we get a hold of you to come and start volunteering?
Okay, again, it's the same line that our hotline is. It's the 989-356-6265.
Okay.
And they will transfer you to my voicemail.
Okay.
And if I'm not in the office, or if I am, I'll pick up, and I'd be happy to get you signed up. It's a little bit of paperwork. Of course, working at that type of an agency, there is some background checks
and some training
that are involved, and there is some training that's involved. But it's not a ton of it. It's probably, total training is about an hour to start, and then twice a year we have a day-long volunteer training. So once we get quite a few volunteers on board, then we'll have a luncheon, we'll have some a volunteer training, and everyone seems to really enjoy that.
Oh yes, get to meet your fellow volunteers.
Exactly. Yes.
And also donations are always appreciated, because usually when someone leaves their home, it's in a stressful situation, and they need blow dryers and toothbrushes and toothpaste and hygiene items, anything like that are always welcomed at the shelter.
And clothing as well. We have a clothing pantry at the the shelter, and we also have food.
Oh, okay.
Food as well, because people don't, again, you know, they don't have food
Right.
when they leave either. So food items and clothing as well as hygiene.
Okay, well, I want to thank you very much for being here, and tell everyone on your staff, thank you so much for being in our community
Yes.
and taking care of the vulnerable men and women and children in our community.
I will do that. Thank you so much, Nancy.
And the phone number one more time.
989-356-6265.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please stay tuned for Dr. Don McMaster following these messages.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster. I'm president of Alpena Community College, and I'm pleased to have as our guest this morning Wendy Brooks, Dean of Learning Resources at the college.
Good to be here.
Thank you for coming and welcome. You had a really neat event this week.
We did.
And a group of other deans of learning resources, or librarians, you might say, congregated at the college. And tell the viewers how that went.
It was wonderful. We get together a couple times a year, and I asked them if they'd like to come to Alpena Community College, and they were thrilled. Some of them have never even been on this side of the state. But what they were really happy about, this has never happened at any other college, was that the college president greeted them.
Very sweet.
It made them feel very important, and so yeah, they were really, really pleased that you took the time out to greet them, and that was very nice. But yeah, we get together, this has been about 4 years now. We get together a couple times a year, and we just are a support system for each other, because a lot of times we don't see other community college librarians very often. So we kind of make it a point to get together a couple times a year, and of course we communicate throughout the year about questions that we might have, things that we're contemplating, and the lunch was lovely.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Box, Fremont Catering, provided lunch. It was very nice. So, but the purpose is to have fellow colleagues and bounce ideas off of one another. Some of the things that we talk about when we get together are weeding policies, and we talked about how important it is even for accreditation.
Which you know a lot about.
Yeah.
You led us through our last accreditation, and I thank you for it.
And I thank you for supporting me in that.
Yeah.
But weeding policies are very important, because you want to have the most current information out there for students, especially like in the nursing area and that type of thing. We talk about hours of operation, and yeah, this past meeting when we were discussing that, it was interesting to see that ACC has more days and more hours than any of the other community college groups. I should tell you what all groups were there. I have a list of them here so I don't forget. We had West Shore Community College, Gogebic, way up in the Upper Peninsula.
Ironwood.
Yeah. Northwest Community College, Traverse City, North Central out of Petoskey, Kirtland Community College, and Mid-Michigan College. They just changed their name from Mid-Michigan Community College to Mid-Michigan College. And so, and myself, so we had 7 colleges represented that day. We talk about things like our card catalog, and we have a young librarian that joins us, and very young. We talked about a card catalog, how it used to look with a rod that went through, and so that all the cards would not fall out of the card catalog drawer. And she didn't know what that was, so we had to help her understand that.
Wow.
We took a tour through our library, and we have some video equipment in our AV room. She had never seen a 16-millimeter projector before.
Wow.
So it's kind of interesting to see her reaction to some of those things that some of us who have been around for a while have seen.
So things do change in the library world.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
They do change. Lots of exciting things. For instance, we talk about databases, and then we were talking to this young librarian about Reader's Guide to Periodical Literature that we used to use and try to find a magazine, and how the students can access databases and have all the information they need within minutes. And then we compare what databases do you have and what vendors do you use to purchase various things for the library. We talk about staffing, and ACC has equal or more staffing than any of the other community college librarians. One librarian, unfortunately for her, she's the only one at her college. She has no staff to help her, and she's not open in the summer, weekends or evenings.
Wow.
I mean, she can't possibly with one person, and we're just so fortunate to
Yeah,
have what
well,
we
it's-
have at ACC.
It's a decision of how resources are allocated, you know, so, and resources are tight everywhere.
Right, right.
And so I think our thinking is that it helps students succeed to have access to the service you provide. And
And it's so nice to have ACC have that priority, that it's important. I always get to do the annual report with the board every year, and they're not asked to do that, and they don't do that. And I think it's important for us to have that information out for the Board of Trustees to see what all does happen in the library, the action that goes on there, and the value of it. So that was one thing we discussed. An interesting thing we discussed is that this one librarian has a Nazi art collection that was given to her.
Okay.
And what to do with it, you know.
Yeah.
Do you display it? Do you donate it? Do you sell it? You know, those types of things. We had conversations about that.
it's a
'Cause-
very current topic on many college campuses.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's different collections that each of us have that we get to discuss, you know, oh, you really have that? You have that, you know, and why do you have that kind of thing. So in our last meeting, one librarian shared a link to an article about electronic resource management, and we also talked about the electronic resources that are available, open educational resources
Yes.
that are now available for textbooks for students and faculty. And we have that access at ACC, but one of the librarians is on the board for the OER. And so she talked about information and how we can access that.
Wendy, we have about 10 seconds left,
Oh.
so I guess maybe thank you for hosting this. This is a neat thing when other colleges come to our campus and they see what a well-run operation you have, and I appreciate it very much, and the students do too, and the community. And thank you. And folks, thank you folks for watching Talk of the Town. We also like to thank you for voting Tuesday on the millage vote. That turned out favorably to the college. We appreciate that very much, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your host, Nancy Smitham and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wbkb11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.